So here we're getting, I love, and I'm going to call it a call and response. I don't know if that's the same thing you would do, but through that first verse
Yeah.
where it is
Yeah.
got one chance, infiltrate them, you're
Right.
getting
Yeah.
that call back. And I'm just like, oh, this is ramping up the crowd a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's guitar heaven. So it is a shred from the go. And eventually those pounding drums come in. But this is all about, you get the call and response again at the end, but to me, just latching on to the guitar and taking it for a ride throughout this with Dave and Marty Friedman going nuts is delicious for anyone who appreciates any guitar work, whether thrash is your style or not. If you appreciate a good guitarist, you need to listen to this album.
God, yes, you do. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you've been doing with your time. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm like looking online here for like lyrics just to kind of, I like I said, I listened to the whole album today just to refresh my memory, but then suddenly we're in the middle of talking about it, and it's like, all right, I want to refresh my memory again. Um, yeah, it's definitely, yeah, the beginning, yeah, the call and response is exactly what the beginning is, which is totally awesome. It works incredible. So it's like he says something, and then it's like a group vocal, like a gang vocal, and just back and forth. God, yeah, you're right, dude. The riffs are just insane, dude. They're so insane. There's like the notes are just so rapid fire. You know what I mean? And then it, like, after that first verse or whatever, it stops and it's just, and I like, you have to like think about Nick Menza. I mean, you have to think about the whole album, right? Period. But you have to think about his talent when you hear maybe especially this song, right? Because it's so ridiculous. There's barely a regular drum beat. You're all over the place. I heard Mustaine. I read a quote today about how, like, he wanted to make like a really heavy metal, but like with almost like with jazz almost, right? And he found Nick Menza. I think Alefson may have found him or something like that. But the guy was just capable of like doing whatever, and I think that's why, like, you're able to have all these crazy weird time signatures. And just, I mean, without Nick Menza, this album wouldn't be nearly as good,
Right.
right? Because he's just, I mean, as crazy as some of these riffs are, that dude is matching a lot of it with his feet. Hey, I like that. This is a prime example of this
Well,
song.
in keeping up and setting the transitions, it's
He's so good.
amazing to listen to. And I'm not nearly versed in music the way you are, especially producing it, but being able to pick up like, oh, that's a lot different than it was 2 beats ago. And it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like it's out of place.
Yeah, it's all over the map. Like I said, when I was a kid, it's like I didn't even know what I was listening to. I didn't even know how awesome it was or how talented it was, And like as an adult, when you like really like pick these things apart, you're just like, holy shit, how did they think of this? Like, first of all, right? And then to have
Well,
the
and
talent to actually play it too.
and as we're through these 3 tracks and kind of set the tone here, how did you start playing guitar and what has taken you to the level that you're at now?
Uh, well, the real answer to that is playing with other people is like I. But the first answer to that is my buddy Mike and I were, we were just skateboarders back in the '90s, and he got on a team that was out of Cincinnati, and so suddenly we had all these friends in Cincinnati, and we moved there, and I was like 19, 20, 20. And it was before I drank or did anything like that. I didn't really party, so we found this job where we didn't have to work much. Then we would skate like 6 hours a day, and then we would go home at night. And he would play video games, and I was like, "This isn't what I want to do." So I just bought this. I just got a hair up my ass, and I paid a really small amount of money for the shittiest guitar and amp combo that I could find. Like, I don't think it was in tune the whole time I owned it. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't a guitar that liked being in tune like ever. But and I just bought like tablature books of literally like Metallica, Slayer, and I don't know if I got Rust in Peace right away, but I had at least two Metallica ones and a Slayer one. And after we would get done skating, I would go home. He would and so would he, and then he'd play video games, and I'd go in my room and just learn how to play Metallica songs and shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then when we moved back to Indianapolis, I met Nate Ulp, who was the singer bass player of Demirkus, the thrash metal band that we were in. And dude, we were like, I mean, we were like brothers from different mothers. Like we had no, you know what I mean? Like we knew each other sort of, but then like when I moved back, we all moved in together. And I mean, we would listen to like Sepultura or Megadeth or whoever on the way to a skate spot, and we would scream the lyrics so loud that by the time we got to the skate spot, we were tired, you know,
Yeah.
like, and our
Awesome.
voices were blown out, you know what I mean? And like, you know, we were barely able to skate because the car ride was so insane. And so we ended up starting that band together. You know, it's a longer story that needs to be told, but and then really when Ben Parrish, who's the other guitar player in my band currently, and then Demirkus, God, when he joined the band, it was just like, okay, shit. Now I have to really play guitar or whatever. You know what I mean?
But it's good to get that peer pressure, right? And to get that, hey, I got to keep up with the Joneses.
It is, yeah. And I got it. And his fingers are just like water. You know what I mean? They're just, you know what I mean? Like he's just fluid as hell. And I'm not. I'm like two bricks. You know what I mean? And so, like, you know, he's bringing parts to practice, and I'm just like, oh Christ, you know. And I would have to go home and just play him, play him, play him. And it's still like that. We still have such different styles. Him and I, our hands are just different. But
Yeah.
but it works, you know. So when I bring a riff to practice, he's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ," you know what I mean? And then when he brings a riff to
He's like, oh,
practice,
I
I'm
got
like,
to
"Oh,
solidify a little bit.
yeah, what the hell? I would never have written this." You know what I mean? And we do the same thing to each other constantly.
That's
But yeah,
good.
it's like,
That's an awesome creative process.
yeah, anybody picking up guitar, I'm always just like, find something that you can play that you recognize because it's immediately fun, and that is possible. You know, even if your fingers are the worst things on earth, you know, you can figure out how to play like a Nirvana song or something, or you know what I mean, or whatever.
Yep.
Or like, you know, as hard as some of that like Metallica or Megadeth or whatever tablature is, if you sift through the pages, you can find something that you can play that you can recognize, you know, and
Yeah.
that
And
makes it
just
easy.
grab it and go, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's not that easy, but but
Well,
but I mean, if you sit there and work on it, you know, like playing something that you recognize is like, I'm always just like, make it fun as fast as possible.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and I guess what I mean is just start doing it. You know,
yeah,
it may take a while, but take that plunge.
yeah. I mean, you should probably learn all the basics too, you know, run through the scales and learn those chords and whatnot or whatever, but like do something fun. You know what I mean? Do something you recognize, and then it'll immediately be like, oh shit, look at that. You know what I mean?
Well, and something we'll recognize here is track 4, Five
Yeah.
Magics.